Welcome back. I'm Sonali Krishna and you're watching the Brand Equity Special on the Decade Gone By. It's now time to talk about personalities, so who better than Prahlad Kakkar himself to flashback and tell us who the men were who arrived in the last decade. Thank you so much, Prahlad, for joining us on the show.
Not at all. Pleasure.
So let's jog your memory a bit and let's look at the top 3 personalities who've really made a mark this decade. Who would you rate at number 1?
Personally, I feel that one of the biggest contributions that were made this year or in the last decade actually happened in the last couple of years.
Okay.
Because there was a momentum that built up to it. And I think one of the people that we should be talking about today is a man called Nandan Nilekani. Now, not because he made Infosys what it was. That's a success story which will be taken on another forum.
Sure.
I'm talking about the difference that he's going to make now. And he has gone into a sphere where angels would fear to tread. And he's got into bed with the government. And whatever happens, remember one thing, history has always told us that when an extremely brilliant and freewheeling and free-spirited private enterprise person gets sucked into the quicksand of government and bureaucracy, they demise very quickly.
Sure.
Okay? I think Nandan is a completely different kettle of fish. I think Nandan is going to ram what he's going to do or what he wants to do for this country despite the government, despite the bureaucracy, knowing his track record and watching him for so long, operating even within the private sector, they're never going to be able to put him down.
That's great, Prahlad. So let's take a look at what some of his close associates and some observers have to say about the Nandan brand.
I can make a difference for the country.
Entrepreneur, businessman, public servant.
Unique identification number for each person.
Nilekani has donned many hats in his 35-year-long career, from Patni Computers to Infosys to the Government of India. The chairman of the Unique Identification Authority of India has been an inspiration for bestsellers like The World is Flat.
I think he's an excellent marketing and salesman for his ideas, for ideas which are relevant to the nation. I think that's his USP.
Well, Nandan is one of the Indian businessmen I admire the most. I think he, together with Mr. Narayan Murthy and the others who founded Infosys, have built a great organization from scratch. I think that's always extremely admirable.
With an estimated net worth of $1.3 billion, Nilekani's many hats are replaced by the crown of the most prominent personality in the Indian business world in the last 10 years.
I really want to put my head down and deliver some results. And in fact, I'm going to stop giving interviews because I'll go and do work.
So that was Nandan Nilekani for you. Now, Prahlad, let's move on to the second person, the second man who you think has arrived in the decade.
Leader by example in business, in marketing, and promising his people something that might have become Herculean after a while, and still sticking to his word and keeping it against all odds, is Ratan Tata. And you take the Nano case, for instance. When the car was delivered, even the prototype was delivered, everybody was in shock and awe. Everybody. And I'm talking about all the advanced countries of the world. Okay? They all came down here to do jasusi, to do little bits of poking around, and to see whether he was actually going to stick to his word.
Absolutely.
Or whether he was actually going to sell it at that price that he was talking about. Or whether it was like everything else in India, has cost escalations, including our Great Sea Link, which started at 600 crores and ended up at 1600 crores.
Sure.
But not the Nano,
Right.
because he had given his word.
Sure.
And he said, I'm going to bite the bullet, I'm going to take whatever it costs. What did it cost him? It cost him a hell of a lot personally as a company. He took a hit of whatever it cost him. It was close to 3,000 crores. He wrote that off and he shifted everything overnight to Gujarat. And that's remarkable, and that's statesmanship. That's leadership of a kind which is very rare.
Let's take a look at what his close associates and of course people across industries have to say about the man who inspires the whole of India today. Yeah, let's take a look.
promise was a promise, and that standard car would be available at 1 lakh of rupees as promised 6 years ago.
Being the chairman of India's largest conglomerate and the son of Jamshed Tata wasn't going to be easy. Part of the country's legacy was passed on to Ratan Tata as a birthday gift.
He is shy, reserved, strong, and he's very warm. He cares for people, and he cares for values. He cares that values and ethics should not be compromised today or tomorrow for the sake of business. And that I think is an admirable quality of any business leader.
Well, I think he clearly had vision. He clearly had worked out a game path for the group. He attracted strong people around him to help implement that plan.
Tata Steel, Tata Motors, Tata Hotels, TCS, Tata Power, Tata Chemicals, Tata Tea, Tata Teleservices. Phew! Yet Ratan Naval Tata has proudly stepped into his father's shoes and shouldered the responsibility of being the face of Indian business.
So that was Ratan Tata for you, a man who almost the whole of India respects and admires. Moving on, Prahlad, let's go to the third person this decade who has really arrived and who has marched to success.
You know, this person is going to be extremely controversial because a lot of people disagree with the contribution that he has made, if any, at all, according to them.
But you're still deeming him with the tag of one of the most successful people of the decade.
Not just successful, it's a manner in which he lives his life on his own terms. And I believe that he is one of the few people in this country who's actually not a hypocrite. Okay? He might not be the richest man in this country,
okay,
but he lives like a king.
Let me take a guess. Vijay Mallya?
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen,
He's all about the car collections, lavish parties and high spirits. But being Dr. Vijay Mallya is no mean feat. The man was born with a silver spoon as the son of an industrialist, but earned the chairmanship of the multi-million conglomerate of over 60 companies.
Vijay Mallya has given a different flavor. I think Richard Branson kind of a personality he has, so there is a market, and he has brought, I would say, taste for quality in the people. There he provided a great experience to people, particularly with Kingfisher.
His liquor business, of course, is well known, but the way he launched and then developed Kingfisher Airlines, I think is a great tribute to his vision and business leadership.
Apart from, of course, turning fun into business with the IPL team and Formula One racing. Do we need to mention how the Indian skies will never be the same again after Dr. Mallya's 5-star in-flight service?
Kingfisher will be extremely successful.
He's the man of the decade.
These were Prahlad Kakkar's views on the top 3 men of the last decade. That's really Vijay Mallya, Ratan Tata and Nandan Nilekani. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of Brand Equity. This was a special presentation. We'd love to hear from you, so do write into brandequity@etnow.tv with your thoughts on the show. Brand Equity wishes you a very, very happy new year and have a fantastic 2010. I'll catch you next week. Ciao, ciao.